versus the mob today. Does the mob still exist today in America the way it did in the 80s, or is it dramatically different?
Dramatically different.
Are there any big earners today? Anybody making real money today? Any rackets that they're capitalizing where they're making 10, 20 a year?
Listen, I don't know personally that at all, but I know guys on the street are pretty resourceful. They figure things out. I don't know what kind of money they're making now. I can't answer that. I will tell you this though, Patrick, and Samuel backed me up. When I was on the street, I read the New York Post, the Daily News almost every day. There wasn't a day went by when there wasn't a story about us, about the mob. Not a day. I read the New York Post every morning online. Maybe every 6 months you'll see a little story. So what does that tell you? Did they get so smart that they're undercover and they're not doing anything? Or is it really not what it used to be? To me, it's
No, it's not.
anywhere
It's
what
not
it
even
was.
close to what it was back then. Back then, I always used to label it. Back then, I grew up in, it was like the Jesse James days. It was cowboy days. People bodies, people shootings, robberies, you name it, went on. It was a whole different thing. Now, I think, from what I heard, it's mostly little, Wall Street crimes and credit card crimes and stuff like that. They lost control of most of the unions.
Yeah.
They lost all the power things, gambling and stuff like that.
The government became the bookmakers.
Yeah,
The government became
they're
the drug
everything now.
dealers.
They've been taken out of institutional situations. They no longer control the Teamsters. They no longer control any appreciable number of politicians. They don't control major industries. It's a shell of its former self. It's made up of really fairly low-level wannabes, I think they like to call them, but they don't control major international businesses. They don't control local businesses. They're basically drugs, still some gambling, but gambling has decreased quite a bit. Loan sharking still. The revenues are much, much smaller. And they are by no means the most violent group now. I mean, there are groups that have surpassed them in the kind of,
Not Italian, though.
Yeah, not Italian.
Not
right.
Italian,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, even 20 years ago, the Chinese, the Russian organized crime had surpassed them in violence. To the extent they now exist, they're no different than any other organized crime group and probably weaker than some.